Hello, everybody. Hello to all the followers that we have in Desde, Cima. This is a podcast from the top where we have amazing people, especially amazing Latinas who are doing great job. Many of them that nobody knows, just about they hear about the work that they are doing, but we don't know all the story. So here we are today with an amazing superstar. And I'm so proud and I'm so blessed and really happy today to have you here, Patricia Barela Rivera. And I'm in love with the whole name in Spanish. Thank you
Gracias.
and welcome.
Gracias, Rocío. Me encanta estar aquí con ustedes. I'm very honored and I'm very humbled. Thank you.
Thank you for all the hard work that you have done during all these years and that you keep doing, helping us, as you were saying. Where are we? We should be at the table. We should be dealing with big measures, with our situations, taking the rules by the horns and deciding. So where are we? So I want to start by asking you about your roots. Where are you from? Why are you here?
Well, I was born and raised in a little town outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico called Corrales. It's like a mini Santa Fe. It's beautiful. And there's a lot of, Hispanic families that live there. But now everybody's moving there because that's the place to move. But anyway, I was born and raised there. I went to college. I went to high school and college there. And then I had an opportunity to start working for the US Forest Service. I started out as a secretary, like most women. And I worked hard and slowly went up the career ladder, and I got recruited by the government. And my first job with the US Forest Service was in Pocatello, Idaho. I was there a year to the day. And that's where I really learned what racism and sexism was all about. Because I come from a very humble middle class family, working hard. And mom and dad always told me, says, Patricia, anywhere you go, you're going to be a child of the world.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh, great,
Sounds
why
good.
not? And I'm an only child. So dad taught me to work hard. We had horses and cattle, and we lived on a small ranch. So I worked really hard, driving tractors and baling hay and pulling cattle. And oh, it was a lot. Mom then taught me to be very feminine, which I had the best of both worlds, where I took piano lessons and dance lessons. So I was blessed. And then I go to the Forest Service, and oh my God,
So
it was
that
an
was
eye
where
opener.
the real world was
That
happening.
was the real world. And it was the hardest time of my life.
Oh, wow.
And they saw me so different. They were amazed that I could speak English. They were amazed that I could dress the way they did. They were shocked, shocked. And so for me, it was even walking into a supermarket, I'd always get comments made to me. And I had never had that happen. And it was very tough on me, but it was a lesson. Like they say, no hay mal porque bien no venga.
Mhm.
No matter how bad it may seem, it's always meant for the best. So then from there, I was in the government and middle management. And so it was great. I didn't have to start at the bottom because of my education and because of my work experiences. Then I went to Pueblo, Colorado, and became one of the first equal employment opportunity specialists in the country. So
Wow.
we at the Forest Service in Pueblo, and so I recruited all kinds of Hispanics, African Americans, Native Americans, Asian, to get into the federal government, the Forest Service. Then I did such a great job that they promoted me again to come to Denver to the regional office. And that's what I did. I was a civil rights specialist. And then I was there 6 years. And then I went on to move into the Office of Personnel Management. I became a management trainer and I gave keynote addresses and was on panels. And I trained every federal agency in about 28, 29 different seminars,
Oh,
and particularly to the women that were really down as secretaries and assistants. And I taught leadership, office politics, time management, conflict resolution. I mean, assertiveness, self-esteem, all that. And then after that, I was there another 6 years, and then I decided I was going to quit because they were promoting all the men. and not the
Oh,
women. So I
wow.
quit.
Wow. And then,
I
but what happened? Did you?
I quit.
Oh, no. Okay.
I quit. I thought, how dare they?
Uh-huh.
And they did it to all the men except 6 of us women.
Wow.
They promoted the men and not the women. So you know what? I says, I don't need this. So I quit. So I started a small business and everything went wrong that had to go wrong. But you know what? I hung in there, started my own business and started traveling. And I started my company and I did training and keynote addresses all over the country. And I was doing 2 and 3 cities a week. I was on, I'll never forget, uh, Coretta Scott King, Martin Luther King's wife. She did a keynote in the morning and I would do the keynote at the luncheon. It got to be where I was one of the only Latinas in the country that was talking about leadership for women.
Uh-huh.
And then I even landed up on the Phil Donahue show. A lot of young people don't even know who Phil Donahue is, but he was like the Oprah Winfrey, and he was a white man, but I got on their show in New York to talk about women in leadership.
Wow.
And it was amazing. And so yeah, I've had a blessed life. And then I got recruited by the governor's office to go and become the deputy director for the Department of Local Affairs, where I oversaw all the economic development offices for the state. And then the governor, I had to leave because I was an appointee. And that was a great job because I visited all 64 counties in Colorado and tried to help people, through the governor's office. And also then I became the director of the Citizen Advocate Office, which meant we got every complaint in the state. That was the director of that.
Wow.
That I could write a book about people's complaints, I tell you. And then it was time for the governor to leave and I had to leave. So a year before he left, I left and I applied for a job with the US Small Business Administration. And I thought, why not? So I did. And there were 300 applicants. And it went down from 50 to 10 to 3 of us. It was me and 2 men. And I was the first, I got selected. And it wasn't an appointment, it was a career job. So anyway, I became the director and I was the first Latina in the country and the first woman here in Colorado to be the director of the Small Business Administration to help entrepreneurs, start their business, how to sell their business. I mean, A to Z about small business. And I loved it. And as a matter of fact, when I left, we were giving 1.5 or $6 billion in loans to small businesses, because I made sure that we were going everywhere and letting everyone know about it. Every community of color, men, women, you name it. So I was working 7 days a week and I worked hard and people don't even know. And then after I got out, believe it or not, I was in and out of the hospital for 3 to 4 years because my health went down because I was working so hard.
Of course, you were giving everything up. So I have a couple of questions that I'm really curious about, and one is what through your all the years in this amazing work, trying to open our eyes and to push us to do great.
Right.
What do you think is happening with this new generation of Latinos, Hispanics? What is happening? Why are we here not being able to move? We should be able to move faster to do something
Yes,
greater not by now.
exactly. And that's what I'm so frustrated about. I mean, I retired in 2008, and when I hit the ground running, wanting to get out in the community and coalesce people. And I think, our younger generation are brilliant. They're going to college, they're doing a lot, but I really believe they're not standing up or coming to the table where they need to be. Right now, it's still 4 or 5 of us Latinas here in Colorado, here in Denver, who are over 70 that are speaking up and taking people on, and not in a negative way, but a professional, respectful, factual way.
Mhm.
And I just don't see us coming together. And it's all of us together, old, middle-aged, young. And I don't see that passion and that fight in our hearts and in our souls. And I wish there were more younger people, and there are a lot of them, don't get me wrong. There's quite a few, but we need everybody. We should be doing what Black Lives Matters has done. We need to speak up, pero no, andamos mudos. And no, we don't say anything, because that's the way we're raised.
I was going to ask you that. Is
It's
it because
cultural. It's cultural.
Exactly.
Our parents, and you know what? I respect that with my heart and soul. And it's funny, before mom died, she always said, Mijita, she says, I never raised you to speak up like that. She says, we never taught you that.
No.
You always just stay behind the scenes and you just listen. She says, you are out there. We have to speak up. We have to speak up for the voiceless. And like our people, like they don't vote. They're citizens and they don't vote. We are the ones in this country that could determine who the president of the United States is. Pero no, andamos con las medias caídas.
Right? And we are waiting for others to help us.
We're waiting for others to give us
Save us.
permission. Heck no. We've got to get out there. We've got to come together. El celo es mal. The jealousy. We've got to stop it. I'm the type that if someone's doing well, I'm going to lift them up and say, how can I support you? How can I help you? What can I do for you? Because a lot of people like myself, we have resources. We have a little bit of money that we've been saving. We know a lot of people. And I don't only know people in the Latina community. I mean, I know people in the Jewish community, in the white community that are great. They're all friends. And that's what it's about, is don't stay in your own little circle. Get out there and meet people that can make a difference. Pero no, we're in our own little world. And that's got to stop, so we've got to empower each other. And our young people, we need you. I mean, I'm only going to be alive another 15, 20 years. And I can't keep this up. We need you. We need you. We need to speak up with us, because we're more powerful when we're united.
Is it because we are afraid? Is it because we are not interested? Is it because we are waiting for an invitation? What have you noticed? Or all the above?
It's all the above.
The above?
I think number one, we're waiting. Estamos atrás, nomás parpadeando, saying, well, what are they going to do? No, get in there and say, what do I need to do? And plus, our parents, God love them. They say, don't make any trouble, because you make trouble, and that's why I call it good trouble. You got to make good trouble and do positive things, not negative things, not going around with a gun or beating people up or being mean with our words. What the real issue is we've got to learn how to be strategic and smart with our words, and how we become partners with those people who really don't respect us. And that's the issue, is we need to be more valued and respected, because we add a lot of value to this country. We work hard and we care about our families, but we've got to let go of our children to get a good education, and not to be at home at every turn and be coddled by our parents, because we are. Ay, pobrecito mijita, pobrecito mijito, y no pueden ser esto, y no pueden hallar trabajo, and well, they can stay with us. Heck, let them get out there and work and learn what it feels like to work hard, because not everything is pretty. Not everything is easy. It wasn't for me, because I learned about racism and sexism when I went to my first government job. I didn't know. They said, well, are you one of those people? What do you mean one of those people? I'm an American. But I don't think we have that passion in our hearts. And in order to make change, I mean, we have got to stick our neck out. We need to vote. We need to be in the political process. We need to run for office. We need in our own community. We need to speak up, but not with anger, with professionalism and with strategy, and be smart. Because I know a lot of us are angry, and you probably hear my sense of urgency and anger in my voice, because a lot of us that are trailblazers, have tried to be trailblazers, we get beat up a lot, but you know what? We're changing the world. And our community can do that one by one. And our younger people, please, start to speak up, get involved in the community, get involved in politics, volunteer for a politician, be ethical about what you do, be a leader, empower yourself. Nobody empowered me. I empowered myself. I tell our young people when I'm doing leadership workshop, when you walk into a room, walk in like you own it. And look at the way you dress, look at the way you talk, look at the way you present yourself. I mean, it's a lot of different dynamics that I don't think we are learning at home or even in college. But a lot of it is through hard work and being valued, being respected. And we've got to speak up, amor. We have to speak up.
Yeah, this is our time. Either we clean the table or we are at the table. We have to decide, and it is our decision. I'm totally with you. We have to keep pushing, working, and stop waiting to be invited.
Thank you. We have two choices in life.
Mm-hmm.
So here are the two choices. You either wake up every morning happy, or you wake up every morning with anger. What choice are you going to take every day? What's your choice? I mean, do you want to get out in the world and make a difference, or do you want to sit back and say, "Oh, poor me"?
Nobody's doing anything for me. Nobody's helping me.
Nobody. Because soy Latino or Latina and they don't like me. The heck with that. The heck with that. And so those are the choices, and we do it to ourselves. Mm-hmm. Nosotros mismos.
Mm-hmm. Nosotros mismos.
We do. And, and I make sure I dress impeccable. I try to speak with, announce and pronounce every word. I do. I make sure that when I'm in a crowd of people where I'm the only Latina, that I walk up to people and I'm not afraid to introduce myself with a firm handshake and say, "I am. What do you do?" And that's why I've been so blessed, because I think I've become so assertive, not aggressive, assertive.
I love that, not aggressive, assertive. Patricia, during all this time, and I know and I hear you that you have been beaten by men, women, all the ones who don't believe in your power. What was the strategy that you used to stay firm go back to stay crying and say like I don't belong, or whatever it was that they wanted you to think?
What I did is, when I was in Pocatello and there was so much racism and sexism against me, I would read a lot of self-esteem books, a lot, because I had a lot of time on my hands. And I read and read and read and how to empower myself. And that's what did it for me, in all honesty, is why aren't I valued, and how do I make this work? And that's what I did. I mean, I was reading one book. I was like eating these books up. And any book that I could get about how to empower myself, how to communicate, I was reading those like crazy.
Reading,
reading, and just learning as much as I could about who am I as a human being. Who am I? What do I bring? And I got to tell you, that's what did it for me, is all these books. And I want to, and also the other thing is to be around positive people.
Oh, that's important. Yep.
And I tell women, or men, I say, you know what? If you're living or married to a negative person, guess what? Life's too short. Get rid of them. De veras. De veras. Why? Why put yourself through that agony when you could be having a happy life with you, your children, your family? Surround yourself with positive people. And that's what I won't even let anyone who's negative even come in my house.
There is a
There's
bell that reads them, and then the door is not going to be open.
well, because you know what? In other words, we create our own environment
Yes, we do.
and our own destiny. We create it. And it's how do you want to deal with it? And so it's really about your mind and how you think about yourself and the world around you and how you get up every morning. My mother would always say, Patricia, no person is your stranger, and they're not. I talk to everybody. I'll say, hi, how are you? When I go to the drugstore, I go to the supermarket. I just talk to people. Just say, hi, how are you? And if a woman looks great, I'll say, gee, I love your coat. It's beautiful. Or, I think but it has to come from our heart, and it has to be authentic.
Of course.
You cannot be a fake through life because people will get your number. But it's about authenticity and being real and wanting to. And the other thing is I've learned the hard way that the more you do for other people, it's going to come back tenfold, Rocio.
Mhm.
And I know that's why my life is the way it is. Sure, I still have my ups and downs every day, but you know what? They're nothing, absolutely nothing. If I have an ache here, something happens, it says, okay, let go of it. It's gone. And you know what? One thing I want to say, God, and it doesn't matter. I'm a spiritual person, and we are given one new day every single day with a clean slate. How do you want to proceed with that day? It's a brand new day every day. And I had talked about those two choices. Do you want to make it a negative, ugly day, or do you want to make it a positive? And when there are lessons learned, take those lessons in and say, all right, what am I going to get out of this negative thing that just happened to me? If you have a breakup or whatever, what do I learn? What did I learn from this? What don't I want in life? And, that we have to, or else, you know what? Forget it.
The waste of life.
Thank you. That's why I want to live every day to the 1,000 fullest. Because it's great, and people are wonderful. And yes, right now our world is turned upside down, and there's a lot of ugliness. But we have to really flow with it and not be so stressed. And it hurts my heart when I know that the majority of our Hispanic community, our Latino community, are not getting their vaccines. And I think it has to deal with politics. It's not about politics. It's about our health. It's about our own bodies. And yes, I understand that everyone says it's my body. I can do what I want. But you know what? We've got to take care of ourselves and our children and the people that we love.
That brings me to another question, Patricia, there are many from our communities, many people that they don't want to get vaccinated because they are
Right.
afraid because of the idea that there is a chip and all the crap.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So what do you think we should do? Because we can't force them, but it is sad to know and to read that we keep dying because of our decision. So what should we do?
I hate to say this, but there's a real funny saying that I use all the time. Cada chango su columpio. And that means in English, every monkey to their own swing, which means it's all individualistic. And we have to respect that. But here's the thing. It has not, it's like polio. When we had polio, I guess I was a young child when all that happened. We have to look at history. And when we had polio here in the United States, everyone then, it wasn't about politics, got their vaccination. and it was gone. Now there's no polio in this country. It's the same premise. It has nothing to do with politics. People are being brainwashed. And unfortunately, it's a lot of our own gente. And it hurts my heart that you would believe those people, because you know what? They're speaking on your behalf, and that's not right. Know your own body and take advantage of how you can be helped. I mean, it's all about science, and you need to get your shots because, you know, people who are compromised. I read this horrible story the other day where there were Latinos. They didn't believe in shots, and the woman was sick. She was pregnant, and now she was young. She was 26 years old, and they say especially pregnant women get COVID. They're at their worst risk. I mean, and if you don't get your shot, how can you take care of your family and yourself and the people around you? And don't make it it's not political. It's about taking care. It's like, it's us when we're young children, we get our vaccines, we get all our vaccines so that we don't get sick. I'm not a doctor. I mean, what do I know? But I mean, I'm going to do anything that's going to help my body. I mean, we take vitamins to help our body. We eat vegetables and fruits to help our body. So, and then the other thing is seat belts is like the vaccine. We put a seat belt on to protect us, right? So what's the difference? It's a matter of protecting ourselves and our children. I don't get it. And you know what? It's their choice. They can do what they want. And I think people are brainwashed. I really do.
I agree. I'm with you. And it is interesting because when I was a kid, I remember that at any fair that they said, we have vaccines for whatever it is, my mom was there with me. I think I'm ultra vaccinated because it was so important to my family that everything like, okay. And so I was like, but again, I got how many more? Because I was really afraid of the shots. But she was like, nope, I don't care. Mijita, you have to get it. I'm like, well, okay, I get it. And of course, I've been really healthy because of that. So I just don't understand how that shifted and what happened, why and when we just got back and decided like, no, this is terrible. Well, I do know, but.
We do know. And a lot of it is believing people that don't know what they're talking about. And I'm not going to make it political.
Yeah. And the news, I think how the news delivers is
and to be listening to a certain station that lies, they're lying to you. What is it that you don't get?
Mm-hmm. But they lie in a really good way that you trust and you say like, the news is saying that we shouldn't. I mean, why not what is not to believe in here? So she's really sad. And
it's very sad because what's happening is people are dying in our community. A lot of people are dying from COVID, and that should tell them the story. You know, and it's up to each individual, but you know, we've got to take care of ourselves, and that's why I got my shots immediately and my booster immediately. And I wear my mask everywhere. I still wear my mask everywhere. And because I want to protect myself and other people. It's out of respect, out of pure respect for other people. Yeah. And people that don't wear their masks, I'm not saying that, but you know, it's your choice. But I'm telling you, you know, what goes around comes around eventually.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I think this is a good segue, the brainwash, because we have a lot of work to do and International Women's Day is coming. And I think it's a beautiful and amazing window that we have to enter, open, and invite every Latina to come and use the best use that they can of this opportunity. Tell us about that. Tell us about what is International Women's Day?
Well, it's under World Denver, which is an organization that talks, and their mission is learning from internationally from every country about, about different issues like climate change, education, water issues, and it's really dealing with those housing issues. So World Denver every year puts on this International Women's Day luncheon, which is on March the 8th, 2 days after my birthday.
So we get to celebrate your birthday.
I don't know. I'm not telling. I'm just telling you. But and it's a major birthday for me too. Major,
Woohoo! Okay.
major. I'm going to be 75.
What? No way. Okay, so you have to teach us how to get there this beautiful and this young. I know one key that you mentioned when we started, and it is you are an only child. So I'm with you because I am too. So I'm taking notes. So what else?
Well, yeah, I'll be saying, well, let me talk about the conference because I'm so excited about it because I just got on the board and they asked me to be a co-chair with Jamie, and she's wonderful. She co-chaired last year and she's a lot younger and she's adorable and has a lot of energy. And it's good because she's a white female. I'm a Hispanic older woman, which I think is kind of unusual because usually they'll pick people who are a lot younger. And so, and I got the honor, and how that happened, I think I know how it happened because I know a lot of people. And Leslie, who's on, I'm sure listening to this, because I've been around a long time. But anyway, it's on March 8th, and we usually get about 1,500 community leaders there. But the first luncheon I went to was basically all non-minorities were there, very few. I was one of maybe 4 or 5. So I told the chair at that time, who was a good friend, I says, where are the women of color?
Who?
You talk about an international luncheon. Hello? So she kept wanting me to get on the board, finally, after 4 or 5 years later, I said, okay, I'll get on the board. So I did. And I hadn't even gone to a board meeting when I get a call from John, the executive director, who's just wonderful, John Krieger. And he said, Patricia, we want you to be the co-chair. I says, why me? They says, we heard about you.
Uh-huh.
Because so I said, okay, I'm willing to do it if it's going to help women.
Mhm.
That's my number one priority in life. But anyway, basically, and what's so neat about this conference, and I want to give you what it's, we have our issues are going to be great. It's about global women.
Uh-huh.
It's I want to have it right here. Uh, it's we're going to recognize 2 people beyond borders in a women's regional network, and Marty Awad's going to be one of the awardees because she's really helped in the international scene and here in Denver, and she's just darling. I just adore her. She's one of my dearest friends, and she's just magnificent. But anyway, it's called, the theme and the highlight is women solving global issues through leadership, compassion, and innovation. And we have an international speaker. She's a recognized humanitarian, and she's also the former executive director of the United Nations Women and founder of a global He for She advocacy campaign. And she's from Africa, and her name is Elizabeth Naya Mayaro. And she's internationally known, and she's going to be our keynote speaker. And so we're really excited about that. So we're also going to have a panel before the luncheon that everyone's invited to. That's going to be, it's very diverse. And I was very, very honest when I told all the women on the committee. And I told them, we have got to have women of color. That's the only way I'm going to be the co-chair here. I says, because we have got to come together as women. And I want to tell you, this is my mantra. I truly believe that women are the saviors of this world.
Mhm.
I believe that in my heart and soul. So I have invited close to, I think, about 180 to 100 women of color to this luncheon. And we have some community tables that they don't have to pay for it. And I bought 2 tables myself because I said, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. So I've got Native American women coming, Asian women coming, Black women coming, and Hispanic women coming. And doggone it, we're going to be there. Come hell or high water, they better be there because we need to show up. And I know that, and then the World Denver also committed some community tables also. Thank you, God. Thank you that it's working out. So so that's what it's all about. Is we are here to acknowledge every woman, whether it's local, regional, national, and internationally. We need every kind of woman there at that luncheon because it's for them. It's not for me. Because I want to make sure that we're there in large numbers.
Mhm.
Again, we have to be. We just have to be. And I've been nudging on people to buy tables, and they're buying tables. My friends are buying tables.
Nice. I think, yeah, we all should be there and buying tables and inviting people, all the Latinos, Latinas to be there, Latinas, especially Hispanic, and of course, Black community and
Yeah.
everybody.
Oh, another thing too is I got a table for Girls Inc. so they can bring young girls.
Nice.
Because I did that 2 years ago when they had their luncheon. I called a woman at the Denver at the DSST school, and they had a table of young women because it's our young women need to be there also, so that they can see the role models,
Mhm.
and maybe some of these role models can become their mentors. I mean, because we don't do it alone. I didn't do it alone. I needed help along the way, and a lot of our women that are going to be there can be mentors to a lot of these young women. And that's what it's about. It's about how do we support and help our younger women to do great things and to take our place.
And to understand the responsibility, I
It
feel like
is.
through your words, what you are saying is we need to know that we have a big responsibility and we
We
need to
do.
get educated and we need to play big and to play big with the ones that are playing big. Even we can't expect them to be brown to welcome us. We have to be there even if we are not welcome.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm blessed that I have great friends who are not people of color, who take me to their events or ask me to sit at their tables, who are their friends. I mean, they're friends from the heart. And that's how I've gotten to know so many people, that I've been in situations where sometimes I'm the only Latina in a room of 400 or 500.
So what I'm hearing also is, and I'm putting this in different words, is learning to be uncomfortable.
Thank you.
Is that what you are saying in terms of was the only Latina? And you mentioned many times, like, I was the only Latina doing this. I was the only Latina. And probably, I imagine, especially at the beginning, it was really uncomfortable to be there, like, okay.
You know what? It's scary.
Probably.
It's scary. And I always tell young women, I says, you have to put a suit of armor when you leave your home and get out there and do what you need to do and come home and take that suit of armor then. And you cry at home, not on the job.
Mm-hmm.
And you take those hits and you swallow a lot of times, say, well, why did they say that to me? But after a while, you become so strong that you don't go negatively after them. You learn how to maneuver and learn about conflict and how to deal with conflict in a real positive way, because conflict's awful. A lot of people hate it. I love it. I bring it on. I love it.
Okay, you have to teach us to love it. You have to teach us to love it.
I do. And there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. And it's very, it's probably manipulative. And some of us are manipulative, but some of us are not. And and it's a very fine line between manipulation and strategy. But I really believe that there's a way that it can be done. That yes, and let me say this. When we wake up every morning and put our feet on the floor, that's a risk that we take every morning, right? So why not risk as much as you can in life? We've
All
got
in.
to,
Play all in.
it's exactly right. And we have to. I mean, it's like I hate to use a football analogy, but it's something like that, is that when you have a team of people, your number one goal is to win, right? Don't start thinking about, well, I don't like her because she dresses better. I don't like her because she's pretty. I don't like her because she has a nice car. I don't like, and we do that to ourselves as women. And what we have to do is recognize that we all have different values and different ways of leading our life. All that is good. Remember what the goal is, that we need to be powerful as a community. How do we do that? Together. How do we unite each other? How do we complement each other? How do we build each other up? And that's what and come together to be a force in this country, to be a force. And I think women are very smart. And we have good hearts. How do we make that work for ourselves and our friends and our family and our community and globally?
Mm-hmm.
And it works. And you're right, my dear. We need to take a risk every single day. And when it's negative, you look at it and say, well, just day before yesterday, something really negative happened to me. Really, couple of things, 2 things in one day that was not good. I shook myself up and I says, all right, Patricia, how do you deal with this? So I dealt with it, and then I let it go. I don't want to keep that, because they say when we have stress and a lot of negatives in our hearts and our minds, that's what causes a lot of diseases like cancer. And a lot, and some of it is hereditary. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But also we create a lot of our own stress. We got to let go of it. And I try to do that. I try to say, okay, that was bad, wasn't good. How are you going to make it better? And are you going to listen? And are you going to pay attention and let it go? Because I can't carry somebody else's anger.
Beautiful. Patricia, if you were in front of the 5-year-old Patricia, what did you say to her today? Is there like having a good time? What did you say today to her?
Wonderful question. I would probably look at her. First of all, she's going to be absolutely adorable because she's a Latina.
Of course, a beautiful Latina.
So she'll be absolutely adorable, and she's going to be very smart growing up. I would say to her a couple of things. Number one, you're smart. You can do whatever you want. And you need to get educated. You need to go to school, and you need to study the best that you can. And you need to go to college, and you need to find a good job so that you can take care of yourself. When you can take care of yourself, you can take care of other people. And then the other thing I would say, that you need to be generous. You need to be kind. You need to take responsibility for your own life and be honest with your life. Be honest with people. Don't lie, but be kind and be grateful. Be grateful that hopefully this little 5-year-old will have positive people around her, nurturing her and telling her how beautiful and how smart she is, and she can do anything she wants. But to also, be good to other people, because when you're good to other people, most of them are going to be good to you. But if they're not nice with you, then you just get away from them.
Mm-hmm.
You just get away from them. Don't pay attention to them, and don't say anything mean to come out of your mouth to them. Because I think a lot of young people are too emotional when people say mean things to them. And I got to tell you, we as women, majority, not all, are very compassionate, and we get hurt easily because that's how our families raised us. They have, that's cultural, and plus it's probably being a woman too, but we have a wonderful sense of intuition. And use your brain, because I try to tell a lot of women, just because you may have a nice body and you may be a beautiful person on the outside, you have to look at what's inside of you, because that's what counts more than anything. It's not the beauty. And unfortunately, there's so much competition in high schools and in junior high and even grade school for, who has the best clothes, who has the nicest boyfriend. You know what I mean? I know that. I went through that. But I didn't get crazy because I was kind of a nerd in school. I was kind of nerdy, and my mother always kept her thumb on me because my mother was very she was very loving, but she said no, she wouldn't let me stay out late. She wouldn't. I mean, I didn't wear makeup till I was 18 years old. She wouldn't let me. And she always dressed me to be there. That's the other thing. We have to respect our bodies. And I have a real problem with a lot of young women nowadays, all young women, not only Latinas, that we think by showing off our body, that it's going to help us. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't. Because we have to respect our own bodies. And there's something to say about that, because a lot of times that's how a lot of different groups are viewed by the way we dress. And that's unfortunate.
Yep, that's true. And we are judged also.
Well, they say the first 30 seconds you have met somebody, you've already judged them. First, before you even open your mouth.
Yep, that's true.
And that's why I make sure that when I'm going to a meeting with all men, I wear my hair back. I wear little tiny earrings, usually. I always have a set of pearls. Even though people say, well, that's not me. I says, you know what? It's called the game. Am I right? It's a game.
It is a game. It's
a game. And either you play the game or you're going to be on the outside looking in.
Exactly. That's what we don't know. And we don't think about it. We take that really lightly, and we don't understand that it is a game, and we have
a game
power.
And what we do is we take it too serious, but you can't take it serious because now at my age, I mean, yeah, I wear my big old earrings when I go out, and and sometimes even to meetings, I wear very colorful clothes, but normally I wouldn't. But now I can do that because what I've done is I've already established my position. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And so, but yet I'm very careful. I'm very, very careful because they're still looking at you and they're judging you at every turn. At every turn. You cannot give up.
I think that's a beautiful, what you are saying is great, because I want to ask you a question about what would you say to all the young Latino, Hispanic women that are listening to this podcast? They are there thinking, oh, I don't have any responsibility here, so I'm just living my life. What is your message to them? And also the business owners, but this new generation.
What I want to say to them is they have a fabulous future ahead of them. And you have got to make that fabulous future for yourself, not your mother and father, not your boyfriend or girlfriend. You have to decide, what do you want for your life? What do you want? And that's what it's all about. So you really need to sit down and you need to evaluate, what do I like to do? What don't I like to do? What is my dream? What would I like to? I would have loved to have been an architect, but it didn't work out that way. So, and now I would have loved to have been a designer, because I'm kind of creative, but that's gone. But I thought, okay, what can I do that as a single woman, because I was only married for 8 months and I have a son. And I thought, all right, Patricia, you're on your own, sweetheart. So what do you do? So I says, okay, here's what I thought of is, as I get older, what kind of jobs am I going to have where I have a retirement? I have good health care. I have a good retirement, because I'm going to tell you, I do not want to be a poor older person with no health care and no money.
Like in the hands of God. Dios
Thank you.
proveerá.
And we can't. So I was smart enough. Don't ask me how I thought of this, but I thought, I don't have anyone taking care of me. So what do I do? So I made sure that I kept going up the career ladder. I went to college and I worked hard. And this is the other thing. We've got to work hard. Don't think somebody else is working hard is what it's all about. If you want something bad enough,
Go
you
for
need
it.
to work hard and quit
Mhm.
being so doggone lazy.
Mhm.
And watching TV or going out on weekends and drinking. And don't get me wrong, I partied too, but let me tell you, I've never smoked. I'm not much of a drinker at all. I'll probably have one drink every 2 weeks, maybe. But that's what's kept me young too.
Good.
And the day I retired in '08, I decided I would never drink another soda pop ever again. And I've done it.
Third tip, don't drink sodas.
Because the sugar, it's hard on your body. But I love to eat. Me encanta. I love to eat. I love it. I love good food. But now I'm learning as I get older. But you have to think at least 10, 20 years ahead of your life, all of you younger women, because don't think of what's right in front of you. Think about, okay, where am I going to be in? Where you have to sit down and figure out, where do I want to be in 5 years? Where do I want to be in 10 years? And a lot of times you've got to really be smart and get a good education, even if it's a 2-year technical education. Go to technical school, um, learn how to become a plumber, learn how to do blue collar work. I mean, eventually you could own your own construction company.
I
You know,
think,
think,
sorry to interrupt you, but I
no,
think
go ahead, honey.
that's one of the things that in our community also, we don't give the value to education that it should have, because our parents, they work in construction or cleaning, which is beautiful. I mean, it is work,
Nope, it's
but it's
work.
not enough. I mean, we
No,
have to educate, to believe, trust, and push our kids into education, because that's, from my perspective as well, the only path into positions where we can move the needle. What do you think about that?
absolutely 100%. Because once you have, I know a lot of blue collar workers that make good money, but remember, you need to educate your children, because this world is all about competition. And we're not back in the 40s or 50s, not even the 60s. We're in 2022. Get a grip. Tell that child of yours, get off that phone, get off your computer, go find a volunteer job. Go find a volunteer job at the Museum of Nature and Science, a volunteer job at the Denver Art Museum, a volunteer job at a radio station, at a TV station, at a manufacturing company, where you're learning about people and skills. Because when people see you working hard, they will help you. They will help you. And they'll help you with an education. I mean, you know, I as you can tell, I'm very frustrated about, we don't push our kids.
Do we feel sorry about them? Poor kids. Oh my gosh. Don't stress. Don't stress, please. It is snowing. Don't go to school. It's
Oh
okay.
no, and you know what? And you know what it's about? It's about victimization. We
Mhm.
make them victims of society. And it's poor me. Well, people don't like me and I don't have a good job and nah, 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 nah. Well, you know what? Do something about it and quit complaining. Ya basta. Quit it.
Suficiente.
Stop it. Because you know what? We do it to ourselves. We make ourselves victims.
We do.
We do. And I'm not saying only Hispanics, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And that's why I guess a lot of people around me say, Patricia, where do you get this passion and this energy? I said, well, a lot of it, I'm sure, is good DNA because my father was a community leader in the community. When I was a little girl, here's what he would do. A lot of our people in New Mexico didn't have running water or toilets, and they were very poor. And my dad, God bless his soul, he was wonderful. He would take me to these community meetings and set me on, like we'd go to a bar, he'd set me on the bar with my little Shirley Temple, you know. A Shirley Temple is just no alcohol, like 7 Up with a cherry in it. And I would sit there and listen. And then he'd say, hand out these papers, Patricia. So I'd hand out the papers and sit, but dad would take me to every meeting like that. And that's where I learned about the community and about helping the community. And it wasn't about my dad, it was about him wanting to help other people. And, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And so it's about getting out in the community. If you can't find a job, go volunteer. Go help some politician run for office.
Mhm.
Go to the Capitol. They have internships at the Capitol. So you can learn about public policy, how to make laws, how to make rules. Go to a chamber. If you want to start a small business, go volunteer at a chamber of commerce.
Mhm.
But you have got to take the first step. Nobody's going to grab you by the hand and take you. You got to take the risk.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there is also something that is coming to my mind, and it is stop criticizing. Do something to change whatever you hate or you don't like instead of victimizing yourself and keep saying how bad these people is and how terrible the laws that they are creating. Okay, good. Good that you know that. Now what? What can you do to create transformation?
Okay, so I need to tell you a real quick story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this young man? Was it Rogelio?
Rogelio. Rogelio.
Rogelio, the young man that was the trucker. They had
Uh-huh.
given him 110 years
Mm-hmm.
to go to jail. Well, I got a call. There were 3 of us women, Ramona Martinez, myself, and Veronica Barela. And the 3 of us got together. Ramona called me and says, we got to do something. I said, absolutely, let's do it. So the 3 of us and Ramona's son, who's a lawyer, and a couple of people from Ramona's family, we had sat in a meeting for about 2 hours and said, how can we help this young man? And you know what we did? The 3 of us, it was, 5 million people ended up coming to social media to support this young man, right? Did you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the 3 of us started it. And let me tell you, what happened is that we got together and we went to the governor and we had a rally, 3 women. We had a rally at the Capitol, and then the governor, because so many people, we were on the governor, and that's why he made the term down to 10 years for him.
No way. See, those are the stories that we don't know. We know the result, but those are the things that the media should be talking about.
And
What
they're
happened
not.
to make the change happen? And
It
how
was
many people?
There was 4 of us.
Can you believe it? So we think, no, we need thousands of people going for. What if the change can be made by 2, 3, 4, you?
And it worked.
Thank you for telling us the story. Patricia, I can spend the whole evening talking with you. It's been a pleasure, but I know that you are really busy. So
That's
thank
all
you
right.
so much.
But I just want to make sure that we get as many women at that International Women's Day luncheon. And I think, do you have the information where they can register?
Yes, I do have the website and I do have all the information. So We are going to share that with all our followers. So they register, they are there. So we have to be present, as Patricia just said.
The other thing is the tickets are a little expensive, but if they can say maybe in the note or whatever, would appreciate some type of a scholarship to be there, tell them that, because I know there's a lot of women that are listening that don't have the money, like 100, I think they're 125, 150, $200 for the seats, for each seat. But if they want to come, we'll make room for them, but we need to know that.
Perfect.
And then they need to get involved and stay involved.
Be visible, stay involved, act. As Patricia just said, 4 women were able to change a law against this guy. So we can be the difference that we want to see. So thank you, Patricia, again. This has been a treat to me.
Well, me too. And I want to thank Leslie for doing this, because she worked hard on it and she's adorable. And I want to thank you as a Latino doing great things for women. Anytime you need me to be on a program for small business or for women or issues in the community, you just let me know and I'm there for you, honey. And for our women, I'm there 1,000%. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
Doing great things, because we need you.
We have to, exactly. Thank you for all the hard work that you have done so far and all the amazing work that is coming and you are going to do for us. And Leslie, thank you so much for helping us putting this together and for being amazing, the two of you.
Thank you. And I hope you attend our lunch. I hope you attend our luncheon.
She will. Yes, I'm
okay.
sure.
What did you say, Leslie? I'm sorry. I interrupted.
No, thank you again to Rocio and to Patricia, for being able to do this interview. I know that you interviewed Jamie. I think that you have two very, very interesting, smart, and powerful women, in the interview today. And again, as Patricia said, we hope that as many people, especially women, not just Hispanic, but women of color, will join us at International Women's Day. It's on March 8th. We are going to have it at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts. So tickets are on sale. We have a sponsorship package, and it's not only going to be in person, but also it's going to be hybrid. So we're looking at reaching out to 1,500 women, not just here in Denver and in Colorado, the states and around the world. Come join us. And again, thank you so much for the great work that you're doing, Rocio, and of course, Patricia, PBR, our PBR here as always. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
So much. Adios.